Hello everyone and welcome to another Star Wars figure review. Today we're going to take a look at another exclusive figure. It's not a store exclusive per se, it's a mail away exclusive, and this is another figure that basically utilises the typical mail away system where in the US and Canada you collect, I believe it's 5 UPCs or proofs of purchases from your Star Wars figures, include them with the redemption certificate, which is included with certain figures as well, and include, I believe it's a sum of around $6.95, and send it away, and within a few weeks or months, depending on how long you're waiting, Hasbro will deliver this figure to your door. Here in the UK that offer is slightly different. Basically what we have to do is collect or purchase 4 Star Wars figures from Toys R Us. We then have to retain the receipt and include that, I believe, with a redemption certificate which is available online, and you send off for it that way. I will post a link to that offer in the video description, although it does end this weekend, which is the 4th of December, so do hurry up if you have an intention on picking this guy up. But the figure itself is this guy, the highly sought after and very cool looking prototype Boba Fett. This is of course based on, not pre-production as such, but sort of the I don't know how to state it really. It's sort of the well, it's the prototype Boba Fett. I'm beating around the bush here for no reason. This is obviously how Boba Fett was going to be portrayed in The Empire Strikes Back, prior to being given all the flashes of colour. There's a paragraph on the back of the packaging which does explain the concept behind Boba Fett and his original plans for the film. We'll talk about those more as the review progresses. I will be leaving this one carded due to its exclusivity and sought afterness, I guess you could call it. So hopefully at some point down the road I will be able to pick up another one to open up and review out of the packet, but for now the carded sample will do me just fine. This figure was sent out by a very good friend of mine here on YouTube, although he wishes to remain anonymous as to so that he doesn't get inundated with requests to send other people this figure. But he knows who he is, so mate, if you're watching, a massive thanks goes out to you. I'll be sending you some very cool stuff in the post very soon as well to return the favour for this awesome gesture. So there is the figure. We'll talk about the packaging more in just a moment, but obviously, like with most mail away figures that Hasbro tend to issue, when this one does arrive on your doorstep, it does indeed come in the white mailer box with the name of the figure on the front. Obviously this does tend to allow the figure that's inside the box to become a little bit damaged, but if you're lucky you'll get one in pristine condition, which I have, which I'm very happy about. But that is the box that it'll arrive in. The packaging for the figure itself is obviously based on the vintage collection card backs, so you have the Empire Strikes Back logo at the top, you have the name tab of the figure below that, and you also have a very cool image on the card back, which I believe is a production shot rather than a movie still, because obviously Boba Fett does not appear like this in the film. You also of course have the figure inside his plastic prison on the front there, and on the back you have, as I said, a paragraph about the Boba Fett character, or the prototype Boba Fett character. Feel free to pause that and have a read if you want, or alternatively you can find that in the video description. And then at the side of that you've got another production photo which shows Boba Fett in the prototype armour on the set, or at the studio, wherever that is. Below that you have a few figures that are available, or will be available, in the vintage collection. As we found out at New York Comic Con, these figures will be delayed until 2012. So on there we have a 501st Clone Trooper, Nominor, Aayla Secura, Dr. Everson and Kithaba. So that looks like a great wave of figures, one that I can't wait to pick up myself. The figure itself that is included in this package is a repaint of this figure, which is the 30th Anniversary Collection animated debut Boba Fett figure. This particular figure is based on Boba Fett's appearance in the holiday special, I believe. Yep, the holiday special. which was released in 1978. Yeah, you got the date right. So this was around the same time as Boba Fett was going into production for The Empire Strikes Back. But the figure itself that's inside this package is exactly the same as this one. A few accessories are different though, and obviously the overall paint job is completely different as well. But the base figure, the sculpt, is the exact same. So there's the animated debut Fett, and there's the prototype Boba Fett as well. Basically this is a sort of, or the animated debut Boba Fett figure at least, was a kit bash of the 2004 Vintage Original Trilogy Collection Boba Fett figure, which is also currently available now on the Revenge of the Jedi card back in the Vintage Collection. Due to that, this figure does not have a removable helmet, which I think is actually better than the Vintage Collection Boba Fett figures that have been issued with removable helmets. It just looks a lot more natural and a lot more accurate, and doesn't look as goofy in my opinion. The paint job is very similar to the Macquarie Concept Boba Fett, in the sense that you've got white armour and a underlying grey jumpsuit. Obviously a couple of the weapons are different as well. You've got a couple of blaster pistols included in there. And the sole purpose behind Boba Fett's prototype white armour was because the initial concept for Boba Fett in The Empire Strikes Back was that he was going to be some sort of super trooper, so sort of an evolved version of the stormtroopers. Obviously he did evolve into a bounty hunter that we all know Boba Fett as now, but it's still a pretty cool concept and a pretty cool look for the character. In terms of articulation, this figure has a ball jointed neck, ball hinged shoulders, elbows and swivel forearms, a swivel waist, swivel hips, ball hinged knees and ball hinged ankles. So a very nicely articulated figure, and once again one of my favourite sculpts for Boba Fett. I just love the fact that the helmet isn't removable, and just the overall look of him is superb. I've also noticed he doesn't, oh yeah, he does have the cape, but it's tucked away behind the figure. And if you've seen shots of the prototype Boba Fett, you'll know that the cape that he's wearing is sort of a poncho, and it has the Star Wars logo on it, which would have been a very cool little novelty to include with this figure, but oh well. So there is prototype Boba Fett. Once again, I will include the link to send away for this figure here in the UK if you want to get your hands on this one, but again, the offer does expire on the 4th of December, so you'll have to be quick. But there he is, that's prototype Boba Fett from the Vintage Collection. Again, a highly sought after figure, and one that I would highly recommend tracking down. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep collecting, and may the Force be with you.